guests. I've just had a call from your mayor, Marsha McLean, who unfortunately can't be with us tonight, but she did say you have her permission as a politician to enjoy yourselves. So, welcome to the newest little piano bar in Newhall. I'm going to be your host for this evening. I'm sorry it's clashed with the Critics Awards, but you may not know that there's an entire Wikipedia page devoted to why people tell stories about their mothers-in-law. The reason seems to be that no mother-in-law ever thinks a chap is good enough for their daughter. But we fellas, well, we get our own back. You know the sort of thing. I haven't spoken to my mother-in-law in 18 months. I didn't like to interrupt her. I always know when my mother-in-law comes to our house, the mice and the rats throw themselves on the traps. Well, tonight I'd like to introduce you to my own amazing mother-in-law. And instead of reading extracts from her book, as we'd originally planned, because I'm a journalist, I'll be asking questions of Ruth herself. Can you have any idea whose idea that was? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only Miss Ruth Allen. Come to the light, my dear. We have drink.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. I am so happy to see you all. Especially, where's my sunrise people? Hey! Welcome, darlings.
Come on.
Okay. Well, we better get on with it, don't you think? Yeah. Are you all right, dear? And these are my lovely people, my family. Should you hear yourself saying, gosh, how I wish, and you're thinking that life's passed you by, get off your caboose and shake yourself loose, 'cause anything can happen if you try. You're never too old to renew, 'cause deep down inside, you're the same old you. Stop thinking that your done is done. You haven't finished till the game is won. You're never too old to relate. You'll only lose if you hesitate. Tell old Father Time to get lost. But for safety, keep your fingers crossed. Like an old house with new central heating, the warmth inside of you takes some beating. Age only shows on the outside, so revive what's alive on the inside. You're never too old to get smart. It can never be too late to start again. To thine own self be true. The trick's not to die till you do. And you're never too old to be you. Beth, come and join me. Like an old house with new central heating, the warmth inside of you takes some beating. Age only shows on the outside, so revive what's alive on the inside. You're never too old to get smart. It can never be too late to start again. To thine own self be true. The trick's not to die till you do, and you're never too old. You're never too old. You're never never, 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 never too old to be you. Thank you, Matt. That's daughter number 2, actually. I am.
Are you going to talk to me? Are you going to talk to me?
I'll talk to you, darling.
Okay.
My lovely. What are you?
See how it is with the son in law?
Honestly, I've never had so many visitors all at once.
Okay.
And
Will you
I'm completely fuddled.
just come and sit with me for a minute. Okay. Yeah, just so we don't confuse this poor people anymore, I can't help noticing that in your book, you say your name was Eileen Ruth Berry when you were born in London in 1929. But then you seem to have been a Mrs. Hanscom, living in London, a Mrs. Halpin, living all over the States, from Key West, Florida to Cape Cod to Utah, all around the UK, and then you turned into a Mrs. Toms, living back in London, then in the English Lake District, and then in New Jersey on the east coast of America, before ending up here in Santa Clarita 7 years ago, not to mention the fact that I introduced you as Ruth Allen, and the name on the front of your piano says Ronnie Graham. So I know your book is I'll Still Be Me, but who are you?
Well, today I am Ruth Allen Performs. That's my name, okay? And the other, Ronnie Graham, as on the piano, was my very first name in my very first big booking in London, and that was in 1954. And I did 4 nights of a 2-week contract when the boss came in and said, I'm signing you for a year. And I was the first artist to ever be taken on for a whole year in one club. It was marvelous. The best club in London, the Astor Club.
Well, I asked the question about your name because of the poor border police. You know, they're having enough problems at the moment. But the problem when Ruth goes through is she has no fingerprints.
That's true.
Why? Because?
I've been pounding the boards forever.
Instead of pounding the board, let's introduce your brother,
My
Mr.
brother,
Alan
Alan.
Berry.
And when I was born, we was too poor for me to have any lessons, so I didn't get any. And he came along 6 years later, and by the time he was 7, he was playing piano. And he got a teacher who, after about a year, came back to Mother and said, Mrs. Berry, I can't teach him anymore. He's teaching me. So that's a true story.
Well, why don't we get him to play for you, and let's tell us about Who Needs Spring.
Oh, yes. Well, by this time, I was on an Air Force base in Utah. And Alan sent me tapes of things he'd written on. And I love this tune. It haunted me. And we were all supposed to go out for a picnic that day when it bell rang, which was over the front door, to say that the airman had to be at the place where he has to go. And I thought, oh, well, who needs spring anyway? And the name fitted the song. And then I sat down and wrote the song called Who Needs Spring? To my brother's lovely music. Who needs spring to fall in love? All I need is you. Who needs lambs and daffodils and swings? What's so great that flowers can't wait to flirt with butterflies? All year long, there's springtime in your eyes. Winter, love is warm. Summer, buff norm. Fall, I fall again. So who needs spring to fall in love? Who needs skies of blue? I don't need a season, I need you. Love is warm, summer above norm, fall. I fall again. So who needs spring to fall in love? Who needs skies of blue? I don't need a season, I need you. I don't need a season, I need you. Thank you. Alan? Thank you, darling. Okay, Michelle. Where are we, girls?
Well, where we are, being a girl now.
Where's the lyrics?
Where we are, being a girl. Singing during the Blitz, I noticed in the book. Maybe you were dodging the shrapnel coming down in that.
Yes, that's a horrible memory. I was booked, in that while the rage was so bad, believe it or not, everybody went to a cinema just to shut it out. And the cinemas put on 2 movies a set, and they had a live show in between. And my girlfriend, school friend actually, and I wrote up for an audition, and we played, and they picked us. We were in this show for 2 weeks. And it was a tremendous show. They did so much with it. And so that's where I really started a career, at 15 years old. But afterwards, at 8 o'clock on the dot, the sirens would go. And we were on stage in army uniforms because it was the end of the show and we were all, and had these helmets on, which are so heavy. I don't know whether you've ever put one on, but they're so heavy you feel like you're sinking into the stage, And but as soon as we heard that, we thought, oh, there it goes. And it closed all the underground trains, so we had to walk home, which was pretty difficult with all this shrapnel and bombs coming down. But anyway, that's past, and thank God, and we all survived. So anyway,
But you survived, and the next song is dedicated to the manager who came along.
Oh yes, well this is a long time afterwards, darling.
Yeah,
An
yeah.
awful long time.
He took his time coming.
It's a bit cheeky, isn't it? Yes, well, this darling man came and sat at my piano. I was now playing in a London hotel, and he said, I've heard some of your stuff because somebody sent me tapes. We used to make tapes, to sell wherever we were booked. People wanted to take them home. And he said, I want to publish you. And I was utterly amazed. So this is a song I wrote for him, and I hope you like it. It's called You Took the Time, because he did. He took the time to find me. Okay? What key am I in, G? I was never a whiz in the city. I disappointed my mom and dad. And I certainly wasn't witty. Wit was something I never had. And so I grew up thinking I must be dumb, but always blindly hoping there was more to come. Then you took the time and the trouble just to find me. You took the time and the effort to unwind me. You stopped to smell the fragrance and found the perfume. Turned candlelight to radiance, dispelling the gloom. Your silent smile was an eloquent mime. I'm so glad you took the time. You took the time just to dig a little deeper. You took the time and discovered a deep sleeper. You better stirred, not shaken. You found the right spoon. So eager to awaken, you played the right tune. You knocked, but I heard a bell start to chime. I'm so glad that you took, I'll find it in a minute, don't worry. You took the time and you made me a believer. You took the time, now my heart is the receiver. You listened to the whispers and heard shouts of joy. You looked right through the shadows and saw the real McCoy. You saved me from that long uphill climb. I'm so glad that you took the time. For this, Jill, Jack, you made the nursery rhyme. I'm so glad that you took the time. You took the time. You took the time. Thank you very much. Thank you. Your fingers get lost sometimes, you know.
Now then, we've got another man in your life, of course. The next song is all about a different man. The man
No,
who...
this is about the girl's father,
Yeah.
the young.
So you tell...
Beth and Lynn. Lynn, Beth, Lynn.
Yeah.
Gail is my eldest daughter. And the wife of this guy, who is my son-in-law.
Ah!
Yeah. Okay.
So why don't we do One Lovely Rose
All
and
right.
tell the
I think
story of that?
Alan wrote, this is another tune he wrote. And at this time, I was at home with them on the bass. And as usual, we were extremely poor. And it became our anniversary, wasn't it? I think it was anniversary or Christmas, one of them anyway. And all he could afford to give me was one rose. But he had it wrapped in loads and loads of green tissue paper, so it looked like a bunch. There's one lovely rose, but it meant a great deal to me then. Alan wrote the music. Lovely. I recall a lovely rose that you gave to me so long ago, so young were we. Our love was all that we had to give, to cherish constantly. The years come and go so quickly, and many are the gifts and flowers you have given to me. But my love, if you could give me the moon and stars, and all the gold on earth was ours, no gift could ever replace for me the years of love you gave me with that one lovely rose. If you could give me the moon and stars, and all the gold on earth was ours, no gift could ever compare for me the years of love you gave me with that one lovely Thank you, Alex. This is good, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to get one or two of the girls to come and join in at this stage.
That would be very nice.
Well, there's a little song you wrote called "Knock on Any Door."
Another tune that Alan wrote, by the way, melody, and we put the words to it. Just knock on any door when you've got the blues. Just knock on any door, anyone you choose. Just take a look inside and you might see that the blues you've got has some company. Just knock on any door when you're feeling down. Just knock on any door anywhere in town. It's just the same on both sides of the track, 'cause that's life, and there ain't no looking back. 'Cause people everywhere need people everywhere who care that it's something you can't buy. And when it comes to love, remember the good Lord above, and find a soul that's blue, split the blues with you. Just knock on any door anywhere on earth. Just knock on any door and you'll find it's worth more than all of the treasures in the world, and so much more. So much more. So let's begin. Shout a welcome, come on in, when somebody knocks on your door.
Come on now.
people everywhere need people everywhere who care. That's something you can't buy. And when it comes to love, remember the good Lord above, and find a soul that's blue who'll split the blues with you. Just knock on any door, anywhere on earth. Just knock on any door, and you'll find it's worth more than all of the treasures in the world, and so much more. So let's begin. Shout a welcome, come on in. When somebody knocks on your door, when somebody knocks on your door.
Can I just say that all the songs and lyrics that you're hearing tonight are entirely the work of Ruth Allen and Alan Berry, all of them. And so this one, we're going to have Alan on his own playing a song, a tune that is called Indigo.
And when I first heard this, he sent it to me on a tape. I was mesmerized, I have to say. I didn't write any lyrics. It's the most beautiful, moving piece of music. Oh, well.
Well, we're going to go on now to a little song called Hip Hip Hooray. Do you need any help for this one?
Yeah, my girls help me with this usually, or Beth. I was going to say that you must realize Alan is a great jazz piano player, plays in London, he's very, very well known. But he's used to having bass and drums and all around him, so he's absolutely fantastic. Hip hip hooray, okay? Because I've never been to San Francisco, would you believe? But I wrote this. I met him in San Francisco, fell madly in love the same day. But all that he said when we kissed was hip hip hooray. My ego was slightly deflated, thought at least he'd say have a nice day. But all that he said when we kissed was hip hip hooray. He was blasé, he didn't have a heart. I was so disappointed, I said we'd better part. But then he confessed that he loved me and begged me to not go away. I smiled as so gently I whispered, hip hip hooray. Well, I met this guy in San Francisco, fell madly in love the same day. But all that he said when we kissed was hip hip hooray. My ego was slightly deflated, I thought at least he'd say have a nice day. But all that he said when we kissed was hip hip hooray. He was blasé, he didn't have a heart. I was so disappointed, I said we'd better part. But then he confessed that he loved me and begged me to not go away. I smiled as so gently I whispered, hip hip hooray. Yeah. Hip hip hooray. Hip hip hooray. Thank you very much.
I wouldn't sit down there, Bethy, because...
No, Bethy, it's your turn.
No, I think there's a story behind this one, because in the book, talking about miniskirts and all of that.
I was on my way to work. I was driving downtown in Utah, in Ogden, Utah. And it was a cold and rainy night, not very nice. And there was a young girl, I parked at the stoplight, and I looked to my left, and there was a girl standing there in the very first miniskirt that I had ever seen. They went up in a hurry, didn't they? And I couldn't believe my eyes. I thought, fancy standing there in a skirt up to here, you know. Anyway, I got to my job and did the work with the boys. I was with a band then. And it got me thinking about this miniskirt. And I got home and I started writing words to this song. And it became quite a hoot. Beth loved it. And she was due to audition for school concert choir. And she said, Mum, can I use your miniskirt song? And I thought, oh. But she asked her teacher, and she said, well, all right. So this is the miniskirt song.
The teacher had no idea.
She got the job, though. She got the job.
In her little mini skirt, she waited for her date. It was getting very cold and it was getting late. Her eyes were so big and so blue, and her knees were too. Her hair was in her eyes, you couldn't see across the street. She'd have seen her boyfriend if she'd only kept it neat. Bet you've heard that before. Standing there wondering how long she ought to wait. In her little miniskirt, she waited for her date. In his little skinny pants, he waited for his date. Tight, too. It was getting very cold and it was getting late. Icicles formed on his beard. He looked strange. He looked weird. His hair was in his eyes. He couldn't see across the street. He'd have seen his girlfriend if he'd only kept it neat. Wondering, was this chick really worth the wait? In his little skinny pants, he waited for his date. Suddenly the wind came up and it began to rain. Blew the hair out from their eyes so they could see again. As she ran to him, her miniskirt shrunk out of sight. Melted icicles from off his beard, don't make me laugh, and set his heart alight. They were so happy that everything turned out right. Miniskirt and skinny pants, enjoyed a mini night. Whoa, 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 whoa. Miniskirt and skinny pants, enjoyed a mini night. Whoa, don't you know? Miniskirt and skinny pants, enjoyed a maxi night.
That was fun.
So you've got them laughing and crying. Let's try for crying.
It was the look on the choir's face when they...
We're going to go to something on your European trip. When you were going around Europe, you saw Billie Holiday at the Mars Club in Paris.
Yes, I did. I had dinner with Billie Holiday. That was an experience.
And you ended up in Sweden.
Yes, Sweden. I did 3 years in Sweden.
You don't get that if you've committed murder, do you?
Touring the hotels. Stockholm is gorgeous. Oh, so beautiful. But it was Norrköping, I think you say. That was the best place I loved, yeah.
But
You want me to do my story?
Well, there's a little story about the man.
Yeah. I've played at my piano bar. In towns and cities, people came from near and far. My life is full of strangers who for a while are friends, and then they're gone and I move on, a song that never ends. The lonely man of Malmo, he came in late one night, a man you'd hardly notice, for he stayed out of sight. And yet I felt his presence, his sadness I could feel. He touched my heart, for well I knew his loneliness was real. So I sang and sang for him to try and ease his pain. But the lonely man of Malmo I never saw again. Soon I'm gonna settle down and park my piano stool and think of nights I played and sang, and someone played the fool. And I'll wonder if that lonely man, the one I think of yet, will ever know he's the one I never will forget. The lonely man of Malmo, who came in late one night, a man you'd hardly notice, for he stayed out of sight. And yet I felt his presence, his sadness I could feel. He touched my heart, for well I know his loneliness was real. And so I sang and sang for him to try and ease his pain. But the lonely man of Malmo I never saw again.
It being such a special occasion, Ruth, we tried very hard to track him down, but apparently he's gone for a drink with the mayor of Santa Clarita. We tried.
Oh, I never saw Bertie again.
That brought tears to the eyes. I think we needed a little more upbeat. So let's have an ensemble.
Okay.
Perhaps. There must be a story behind Be a Little Devil.
Yes. I named this one Be a Little Devil. Tell you why, we go out for a pub drink, back home. And the last round came, last bell, they ring the last bell before they close. And inevitably, I would say, oh no, I think I've had enough. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, 'cause she doesn't say that now.
but they would say, oh, go on, be a devil. Go on, be a little devil. Inevitably you do, you have the last one. And so I wrote this song called Be a Little Devil. And Al's going to play for me. And the girls are going to sing. Oh, by the way, you haven't met this lovely lady at the end. Now, probably a lot of you recognize her.
Catherine Myers.
Catherine Meyerson, and she is absolutely wonderful. Yeah. Can we have Be a little devil and tell me on the level that you love me, that you really love me. You I dare. Getting kind of hazy, I'm tired of picking petals off a daisy, and the daisy's not too crazy, it's feeling bare. There must be an ending to this stalemate. I need a male mate, my dear, that's you. So before I reach my sell-by date, come on and seal my fate. Say I love you. Turn into an angel, I think maybe the change will make a difference. Say the magic word so I can say I love you too. Wish I could do that. Can we just jump in?
Yeah, really.
Be a little devil and tell me on the level that you love me, that you really love me. You I dare. Getting kind of hazy, I'm tired of picking petals off a daisy, and the daisy's not too crazy, she's feeling bare. There must be an ending to this stalemate. I need a male mate, my dear, that's you. before I reach my sell-by date. Come on and seal my fate. Say I love you. Turn into an angel. I think maybe the change will make a difference. Say the magic word so I can say I love you too. Be a little devil. Tell me that you love me too. Thank you. Thank you, girls.
Yeah. Yes. You don't need any encouragement for drinking, I was thinking. You're going to talk about being a little devil yourself, Ruth.
Yeah.
Yeah? With the next one. Because you better tell the story of what happened. This happened on a famous London landmark.
Of Waterloo Bridge. You know Waterloo Bridge? Anybody been to Waterloo Bridge?
Yeah.
It's absolutely, it's my favorite bridge in the whole of London, all the Thames. And I met a gentleman who took me out, and we walked over Waterloo Bridge, my favorite bridge, and this is what happened. Okay. I don't remember the key. Can you have a key for me, please?
F minor.
He kissed me on Waterloo Bridge, and the fridge, that was me, came unglued. Kissed me on Waterloo Bridge, all the lust deep inside was renewed. He kissed me on Waterloo Bridge, thought I met the man of my dreams. As we stood there on Waterloo Bridge, I was coming apart at the seams. That kiss was a torpedo going right down to my shoes. Woke up my libido, and that could only be good news. When he kissed me on Waterloo Bridge, and my temperature soared out of sight. Now I'm not one to tattle, but I lost the battle on Waterloo Bridge. That night, that night, that night. Thank you.
Alan's just going to do one over there.
Alan's
just going to do a little on his
jolly
list.
good.
Nice.
We have two pianos, let's use them. Ruth, I've got to come back to asking you a few questions again
Oh,
now.
very
I
well.
think, you were born on a Sunday,
I was, yes.
and next Sunday, the 20th,
Yes.
will be the first time, no you don't, will be the first time that a year's calendar has been exactly the same since the date you were born in 1929.
How come?
Hey! I know I do a few things, but it was all Greek to me, these calendars. But it's true, it's
That's
true.
amazing.
And here we are on a Sunday. And so you better tell the story of a certain song that has Sunday in it that I think involved my wife
Sunday
in
morning.
Hollywood.
It was so long ago, Charles, even before we met you.
That's BC,
Before Charles.
before Charles. You got it.
And I flew over from London to California to be with my eldest daughter, Gail. And so it was Easter Sunday, Gail, yes? And we drove all over LA when the first time I'd ever seen it, been around. And I took it all in. We had a fabulous time. And then I got home and thought about it, and I wrote this song. And it's been very good to us. We enjoy singing it very much. It's called Sunday Morning in LA.
And we hold them up. Yeah. Well,
Okay?
LA, Los Angeles, but easier to say when you say LA. Sunday morning in LA became a day that I'll remember and recall in every way. Sunday in LA. Sun was shining, skies were blue, and there was nothing in our way. Rodeo driving to a rendezvous on that Sunday in LA. Sitting in the shade and sipping on a margarita, listening to the small talk all around, gazing at the fashions that would satisfy Evita. Happiness and laughter all around. In LA, LA, Los Angeles, but easier to say when you say LA. Sunday morning in LA became a day that I'll remember and relive in every way. Sunday in LA. Purple jacaranda trees that line the avenues in May will live within my memories of that Sunday in LA. Beverly Hills, where even garbage cans have pedigrees. Okay, we're changing the tempo. Lawns so well cut, they put Sassoon to shame. The living out of Boone and Mills with all the stars one never sees. Recognize the face, but what the heck's his name? In LA, LA, Los Angeles, but easier to say when you say LA, LA,
Thank you very much.
now Now, ladies and gentlemen, there'll be a 15-minute comfort break while I refuel my mother-in-law. There are copies of her book in the foyer, and both her CD, the songbook, and Alan's CD, Heritage. But we will be back in 15 minutes. Please, we've locked the doors. You can't get out. So we look forward to seeing you then. Okay?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second act of this marvelous show celebrating Ruth Allen and her incredible talent over all these years, entertaining people from, across the globe. And we're so glad that you're here. I'm Tim Ben Boyce, I'm the Artistic Director of the Canyon Theatre Guild. Please don't stop. Nothing like applause. And I just wanted to let you know there are a few really great people here. That John Alexopoulos and Doug Holliday, they're both board of directors, president, vice president. Thank you. Let's give a big hand because, well, I work for them. Tell them afterwards that I need a raise. Okay, and that's it. We also want to welcome a couple of other very special people that are here. Mr. Boyer, our mayor from the past, one of our first mayors is here. Carl, while you come in, marvelous. And a few of our angels. Without these people, the Canyon Theatre Guild could not even survive. And so we want to thank them for their support, not just of this particular event, but every year, all year. And these are the sweethearts of our next gala, and that is Jackie and Pete Peterson. Thank you. And I especially want to thank Charles Scarside right here. And in a moment, Her Highness, Ruth Allen. I told people at the beginning, I wish I were able to do that when I'm 90 and celebrate my 90th birthday. But of course I don't play the piano, I don't sing that well, so there you go. But it is so generous of them to do this fundraiser on behalf of the Canyon Theatre Guild. And it is people like them that come across the pond and actually support live theater in this way that allows us to be here in Santa Clarita, of all places, to do live theater. We thank them, and God bless you all for coming, and God bless Ruth, and thank you, Charles, and you have a wonderful second act. Enjoy.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Tim. That's really good. It's nice to be back on here. Obviously, in the interval there, she had a word with me. She said I wasn't hip enough, not bling enough. What do you think of them? The tie had to go. Ladies and gentlemen, she's back. Miss Ruth Allen.
Hi.
Look, goes my shoes. Look at them.
Oh, he stole them from me, actually.
Come on.
Hi, everybody.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Are you having a really good time? Good. That's wonderful.
Well,
Is that the first one?
yes, just do your thing. Do your thing.
Oops. Don't expect you to listen. I'm just doing my thing. Playing this lonely piano. Won't you join in and sing? I enjoy all the old songs and some new ones as well. All the fast and the slow ones, songs with stories to tell. You can whistle or hum them. Take 'em home in your hearts and remember the fun then, all the while we're apart. Let the music inside you keep you younger than spring. So I hope you will listen while I'm doing my thing. While I'm doing my thing. Here am I, doing my thing. Thank you. Thank you.
That's a great lyric and all that, but what about when you're playing these things? Do people come up like Humphrey Bogart and say,
Oh, sure.
play it again, Sam, and Ruth?
Well, I have a lot of people when I'm in a familiar place, yes. Yes. I have to say that at Larsen's Steakhouse. Is that okay to say that?
Have they paid?
Every third Friday. You have to count them out on the calendar. Every third Friday. We were there last Friday. And it's become very enjoyable. And we enjoy it, my daughter Beth and I. So, what's next, kids?
Well, I was just going to ask one more question. What
Yes,
about
sir.
when you're playing these songs and you're obviously looking across the room, particularly in hotels, do you learn all the secrets of what's going on?
Oh yes, oh yes. They all, especially the
Being
guys.
a journalist, you see.
Especially the guys. Yeah, they'll come up with a lovely young lady, and I say hi. How are you doing? And then the next week they'll come in with the wife, and they're winking at me like mad, you know. So you have to be very discreet. You learn that in this business.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But you obviously had time to think about writing things for yourself.
Oh, well, that came about because, how did it start? I can't remember.
Well, I think you would just show the songs off.
At there, in the piano bar.
No, before I started, it was one song, that's right. Alan wrote a beautiful melody, and I was out having a drink with a girlfriend, went to listen to him, and I love this melody, and asked him about it, and I said, I'd like to write words to it, Al. So he said, fine, okay. So I wrote words to it. And that's how it all started, because I'd play it as a song at the hotel, at the bar in the Savoy, and people would come up and say, what show is that from, Ruth? And I say, it's not from a show, it's a song my brother and I wrote. Oh, it sounds like it should be in a show. Ding, ding, ding. My mind went, show, what would I write about? I mean, I love that idea. So I started thinking about it, and this is an honest to God's truth. I woke up one morning with a great big headlines like the Daily Mail. He's a Daily in fact,
If Larsen can get a plug, so can the Daily Mail.
it had a headline, the hooker and the barrow boy. Yeah, the hooker, the barrow boy and the hooker, rather.
There you go.
The barrow boy. Barrow boys are the same as stall holders. You know, they sell their produce out in the market.
Street vendors.
And they call them barrows. So I thought, barrow boy? Oh, I couldn't put hooker in the title of my first show, you know. So I changed that, and it became to evolve. And as I thought about people, I thought, well, I'm going to write about the East End of London because I've always admired the Cockneys who live in the East End of London if they're in the sound of the bells of St. Mary Le Bow, which is the incredible church, which has been there for over 1,000 years, isn't it?
Wren Church. Yeah.
Yes, it's been bombed, and they tried it also. It's still there, and it's magnificent. And so I thought, that's it. So I finally wrote this show called Ring Out the Bow Bells. And we did the show. I had finally got the script written. But every night at this bar in London, my girlfriends, everybody would come in on a Friday night. It was like club night. And they'd say, what have we got this week, Ruth? So I said, I wrote one this week. They'd all sing it with me. They'd learn it sitting around the piano. So I called them the Ruthettes. Around the piano. Oh, it was such fun. It was lovely. But it really did. It's a good show. I don't care. it's a really good show. It's about London, Londoners, and that's me. I'm a Londoner at heart. I really am.
Very good.
Thank you.
Well, let's start with the title song.
So the title song, of course, is Ring Out the Bow Bells. And I came to that because I had been reading about the St. Mary Le Bow. That's the name of the church,
Yeah.
St. Mary Le Bow.
Play.
And it's a magnificent play. Its history is astonishing. So I call it Ring Out the Bow Bells, this song. Okay. You going to sing it with me, girls?
Yeah, we better.
Okay.
We better.
Oh, well, we must.
Well, this is the opening number and the closing number.
To the show.
Okay.
We're the chorus. Oh, Ruth heads.
Ring out the bow bells of London. Ring out the bells of St. Mary Le Bow. Ring out the bow bells of London. Ring out the bells of St. Mary Le Bow. If you were born within the sound of bow bells, you're a Cockney through and through. The Cockney seldom wanders from where he dwells, for to London a Cockney's always true. So ring out the bow bells of London. Ring out the bells of St. Mary Le Bow. Ring out the bow bells of London. Ring out the bells of St. Mary Le Bow. The bow bells are the heartbeats of good old London town, and there's no bigger heart on this earth. The River Thames, an artery that's always flowing down, and the pensioners who really know its worth.
Sing with us.
So ring out the bow bells of London. Ring out the bells of St. Mary Le Bow. Change the key. Ring out the bow bells of London. Ring out the bells of St. Mary Le Bow. A Sunday morning stroll down old Petticoat Lane. That's at Market Place, Petticoat Lane, very famous. Is an education in itself. Listen to the patter of the costers. They're the guys that sell the stuff. It's insane, but you'll end up with a plate for Auntie's shelf. So ring out the bow bells of London. Ring out the bells of St. Mary
That's the
Le
male
Bow.
chorus.
Ring out the bow bells of London.
When did we turn into men?
The bells of St. Mary Le Bow. The pearly kings and queens are London's treasure, with a language all their own. Communities that always stick together. For
And
London is always home sweet home. So ring out the bow bells of London. Ring out the bells of St. Mary Le Bow. Ring out the bow bells of London. Ring out the bells of St. Mary Le Bow. That's an opening show, and I have to tell you, when we put it on in London, in the very end of the show, they say if the song lasts, that it's a good show. Well, I stood in the vestibule of the theatre, or church. We did it in the church of St. Mary Le Bow. We did the whole play. And what was I going to say?
You were talking about.
You're gonna
See, this
you're
is
gonna
what
say singing
happened.
about it. Okay.
They were singing this.
Yeah, as we stood there in the vestibule, the entrance to it, they all came out singing, ring out the bow bells,
Yeah,
the
very
bow
good.
bell. So I think it's a catchy tune. I hope so. Anyway, thank you. And this is one of the songs from the show. The leading lady, actually. She's had a pretty rough life. And she sings, would I still be me if he'd had a change of heart, if I'd had a different start, would I still be me, happy to be free? Even though I must belong, life has taught me right from wrong, and still I'm me. I tried to change the way things were, but it was a disguise. I'd look into a mirror and see me in my eyes. There will always be an empty space to fill, and perhaps I never will find that place to be, but I'll still be me. I tried to change the way things were, but it was a disguise. I'd look into a mirror and see me in my eyes. There will always be an empty space to fill, and perhaps I never will find that place to be, but I'll still be me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I thought that turned out pretty good. And then in the middle of the show, pretty early on, the hero, Charlie.
Not after
It was-
me, I have to.
It wasn't him.
DC, John.
But I did name my leading man Charlie. I love that name. Anyway, his dear old mum died. He lives with his dear old mum because she's older than me and pretty hard. But anyway, she dies. And it was really funny because my mom was still very much alive. And we had a party at the house one night, didn't we, Alan? And I sang this song. And she said, she looked at me, I've never heard that before.
She didn't like it. Yeah,
Oh my God, I felt so guilty. But anyway, B flat. Okay. So anyone here who knows what I'm talking about, we've all lost moms, right? Dear old mom, I really miss you. It's just like someone came and turned off the sun. Dear old mom, I really miss you. Although I knew the day eventually would come, only you could make a meal appear like magic any old time of the day. Some, I must admit, were tragic disasters, but we ate 'em anyway. Dear old mum, I wonder where you are now. If you see the old man, tell him I said hello. Dear old mum, I'm sorry I made you mad, when instead of mum, I'd call you Flo. I'm not one for crying in me beer, I'll tell you straight. Thank you, love, for my life. So till I meet you at the gate, like I said before 1,000 times, I won't be late for my dear old mom. this is where I get Catherine working with me. And it's very, very difficult, perhaps the most difficult thing you've ever done. But she's playing the man. And I am
And
doing...
he's a Cockney man, right?
And,
No? Oh, straight man.
and I am doing... My leading man by now, near the end of the play, have fallen in love. The girl that sang Would I Still Be Me. And so this is the In Love duet. Do I please? Yeah?
I think you do. I'm going to sing it through once, and then, yeah.
Okay. Sing it through, yeah. I'm sure Ellen played this, yeah.
Yeah, maybe, should we? So unexpectedly, here am I in love,
Sorry,
quite unashamedly, at the time of life when I thought that life had passed me by. So high was I and free and lonely, now in love I'm 17 again, but I'm wise in love. It's not a dream again, it's reality, and I know
Just sing it.
that it will last forever. So it's safe to say that I am in love again.
The old girl, got it there for a minute. Met a lot of men, never thought I'd ever meet
So unexpected,
my Charlie.
Here am I.
It must be love, I'll tell the world. There'll never be another man like Charlie.
At the time of
Look
life
at me,
when I thought
I'm getting on.
and I had
I thought that
passed
I was
me
past
by. So high
Living each day,
was
loving this
I
way.
and free,
No eyes to find me, no one
and
to mind
lonely.
me.
Now
seem possible.
in love,
Feel like a kid again.
I'm 17
Since
again, but I'm wise.
Know what I'm doing now.
in
This is really
love.
real, I know.
It's not a dream
My
again.
Charlie,
It's
the
reality.
my
And I
heart
know
belongs to him.
that it will
I'll never be your love again.
So
But
it's safe to say that I am in love again. Oh, I love you. Oh, I love you, darling.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm sorry about my hands. They were going all over the place.
Ali, do you want to just play a little thing over there? Just
Yes, Alan.
a little.
Thanks. tell. Okay.
Now, I'm going to speak for a little at this time because I think this particular story is in the book. And you married for the third time in London to Geoffrey Thomas.
Because he's up there somewhere now.
He came back into your life having been a concerned air warden during the Blitz.
During the war, yeah.
And helping you dodge the bombs. But your song about him is both personal and very poignant. You see, Geoffrey was a professional artist who was so skilled at retouching photographs and airbrushing flaws in photographic prints and negatives for the advertising and the media market. He was the Photoshop of his day, regarded as the top of his profession. And then Ruth wrote this song for him.
And actually, he was opening at a new, there was a big new studio opening in London, and they asked me if I would perform for it, and that's why I wrote this song. The man I love is a commercial artist, a photographic toucher-up he is. On paper he can change your face or figure, for making things look better, that's his biz. But now I find that he is quite eccentric, for although I know he loves me very much, fate has played on me a very mean trick, 'cause I'm the one thing in his life that he won't touch. A photographer sends him a picture of a girl dressed in a nightie. He'll take his brush and smooth her into a cellophane sleeve. He'll squash her, but he never retouches me. A model's face may well be her fortune. Flaws he removes so successfully. He'll straighten her proboscis while he's giving me neurosis, 'cause he never retouches me. Show him a wrinkle and he'll remove it, or anything else that we shouldn't see. He should receive a pension, moving things I dare not mention, but he never retouches me. And with an airbrush, he's a real genius, removing things that we shouldn't see. He should receive a pension, moving things I dare not mention, but he never retouches me. What did I say? Oh, with an airbrush, he's a real genius, creating things with pure chemistry. I get weak at the knees watching the things his airbrush teases, 'cause he never retouches me. I'm gonna get my own picture taken, an exposure he's gonna see. But it does seem such a pity when he's touching up my eyebrow that he never ever really touched me, not even with gloves on. He never retouches me. Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. He got a big kick out of it too.
I think we should stay in that kind of vein, really. I know I said earlier on that you were going to play tonight all original lyric and song, but there is one little one that you play to a song that we all know, but the lyric, I didn't know this lyric to it.
Once I had a secret love. I wore a nylon negligee. When our night of love was through, I said he didn't have to pay. When he asked me why our love was free, I said Sealy Mattress sponsors me. Last night we were on Channel 4. Now my secret love's no secret anymore. Thank you very much.
Can you just promise me that you're going to pass your genes on to my wife, Gail? I said jeans, G-E-N-E-S. I don't mean your leopard skin ones. Okay. Alan, would you like to have another little fiddle? Can you tell us what this one is?
Gentleman Ben.
Gentleman Ben. Very good.
Don't expect words. Sir?
We've got to mention somewhere in the book that there have been a few dark days
Oh.
in your life, pretty dark days, with both your sons killed at an early age here in America. Did music help with coping?
Well, yes. When I lost my Paul, it'd been quite a while, but it was my birthday, which is January 20th, and I was alone in the room. I was in the kitchen, and Jeff was upstairs in his studio working, and I suddenly heard him thundering down the stairs with his hands like this. Ruth, look at this, look at this. And it had just snowed. The ground was just covered. You could just see the green grass through the snow. And he opened his hands and was a beautiful butterfly, a monarch butterfly. And I really think that was a present from Paul for my birthday. And I ended up writing a song called January Butterfly.
F minor.
Hmm?
F minor.
Alone in my studio, a sudden movement caught my eye, and much to my amazement, I saw a golden butterfly. January butterfly, where have you been hibernating? Have you just been hiding, waiting to defy the winter snow? January butterfly, wings around my ceiling, making patterns so appealing, like a penny picture show, like you. I've been hiding, biding my time, afraid of life and what it brings. But now I feel the urge to emerge and fly with you on your golden wings. January butterfly, you have been an inspiration. I am filled with admiration for your courage and your style. I'll remember you forever, and in remembering, I'll smile. January, hurry by, for I know that I can fly like my butterfly. Thank you very much. Can I just go into this?
Well, what would you like to say about it? It's called A Love That Will... It's all about love.
I've traveled the world on my own. I never needed love till on a visit back home I found what I'd never dreamed of. And this next part I dedicate to my darling friends, the Petersons. A love that was to last was the last thing on my mind, till I fell in love with you. I was unprepared for the harmony we shared, and I knew you cared for me too. You looked into his eyes, and to your surprise, I felt butterflies inside. You fell in love for the first time, and the last time too, altogether. A love that was to last was the last thing on my mind, till I fell in love with you. I was unprepared for the harmony we shared, and I knew you cared for me too. You looked into his eyes, and to my surprise, I felt butterflies inside. All my worldly ways were lost within your gaze, for the world was there in your eyes. A love that was to last was the last thing on my mind, till I fell in love with you. We fell in love for the first time, and the last time too.
Ladies and gentlemen, and particularly the members of the Sunrise Choir, we would like your help now, as we're near the end of our show. We thought we might ask everyone to join us in a reprise of Ruth's theme song, You're Never Too Old. Now, the lyrics are in the middle of the beautiful program put together by the very talented Robin Mansfield.
Yeah, where are you, Rob?
If you look in the middle, and if the gathering gather, let's have a go at You're Never Too Old. You'll be marked.
Yeah, could they lift up the lights so they could maybe read the...
You've got it in your program, actually.
Yeah.
Can we turn on the lights a little brighter in the house? Woo.
So we can see who's not singing.
Where's Ralph? Oops, sorry. Yes, we do.
No, not Robin.
Yeah. Can you do Far Away? Yeah.
Should you hear yourself saying, gosh, how I wish, and you're thinking that life's passed you by, get off your caboose and shake yourself loose. Anything can happen
if you try.
I think we're in the wrong key.
You're never too old. Yes, it is really.
What key is it?
Wait, we're going to change
You're
keys.
never too old
To renew.
Cause deep down inside, you're the same old you.
Stop thinking that your done is done.
You haven't finished till the game is won. You're never too old to relate.
relate.
You'll only lose if you hesitate. Tell old Father Time to get lost. But for safety, keep your fingers crossed. Like an old house with new central heating, the warmth inside of you takes a beating. Age only shows on the outside, so revise what's the line on the inside. You're never too old to get smart.
To get smart.
It can
Never be too late to start again. To thine own self be true. The trick's not to die, till you do, and you're never too, never too, never too old to be. You're never too, never too, never too old. You're never, 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 never too old to be you.
Found it at last. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, can you join in another little song that we happen to know, which is Happy Birthday to you.
Oh my goodness!
Not on.
And this young man here is my grandson.
And he's playing the bass next time.
Oh,
You can do it.
yeah. I've wished.
Okay.
Okay. I love you so much. I have a granddaughter here somewhere. Where's my granddaughter?
Savannah was supposed to come too. Come on, Savannah. Okay.
Wait, get the picture. Wait, get a picture. Get the family.
Look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
Well, can I just say, Ruth, that we all know now that you're on the verge of this birthday, but you've got a week to go yet. So it'll be a long week. But we've had a few messages from Simon Cowell, Jane Seymour, Donnie Dacus, and Michael Feinstein, amongst others. And I thought
No.
that as we're all in such good voice, we might even join you in your last song, the one you play for going away. Now, whether or not you know this, it's an old song.
It's an old song, but I know
But you
a group
try
of
it.
people that know what
Well,
it is.
maybe they could lead us in it.
I think so too.
Okay?
Sunrise, you ready?
We're going in. We're coming in fast.
That's your note.
All right, you guys.
Show me the way to go.
I'm tired and I wanna go to bed.
I had a little drink about an hour ago, and it went right to my head. No matter where I go, on land or sea or fall, you can always hear me singing a song. Show me the way to go. One more time now.
Show me the way to go.
I'm tired and I wanna go to bed. I had a little drink about an hour ago, and it went right to my head. No matter where I go, on land or sea or fall, you can always hear me singing a song. Show me the way to go. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I love you.
We did it. We did it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sally is my darling.
Very good. All right.
Thank you so much. Far more than I expected. Thank you so much. Thank you. Anytime. Thank you so much. Okay. I'm just going to go.
Yes, come with me.